Hello, and welcome to this lesson on flying an IFR flight plan on a live air traffic controlled network. So to fly IFR, guys, let's cut straight to it. You need a flight plan. But how in the world do you get a flight plan? How do you figure out a route? Well, you could just guess and go to SkyVector and just pick a couple of points from A to B and hope it works. Or you can do it the right way, and you can go to a tool called SimBrief. Completely free. You create an account, and it's pretty much the go-to for most people when it comes to simulation flying. So top left here is important that you know is your AirAC cycle. Right now it's 2011 for me. If you don't have a subscription to Navigraph, you can find out more about getting current AirAC cycles. You can see they have a partnership with Navigraph. So if you purchase the AirAC cycles, you can unlock them, go into your account settings, blah, 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 blah. Or you can go up here, click update, and scroll down. You can see you can unlock things, and right now I have these unlocked. Didn't have these AirACs at this time, so everything was out of date for these time zones. But you can see that mine are currently active. So once you update your AirACs, if you want to do that, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Most controllers will understand as long as you make a comment saying your data is not up to date. They will accommodate where they can. So you're going to go to dispatch, and then you're going to click dispatch system. All right. And then you're going to click create new flight or new flight. Either button works. We're going to click the big, beautiful one. And you're going to have a bunch of dispatch options here, your OFP layout, your units, your fuel, reserves, what you want outputted, descent profiles, all that fun stuff. I'm not going to get into the heavy level details of figuring out how to do this. What you're going to do is strictly follow me on this one because it's probably useful for you guys to try to practice this route on your own. So you're going to put in your call sign, which in my case is American, 1014. And this is your departure airport, which is Kennedy, and we're going to Philly. And you'll see it does a quick load because it's going to populate a route immediately. The date of your departure, 16th of October is today. The actual flight was recorded about a week ago. Yay for procrastination for me. So, date of departure and your estimated departure time. Second thing you need to fill out is your aircraft type. Your aircraft type is obviously the type of aircraft you're flying. In this case, we flew an A319. Advanced aircraft options, Google it, figure out what you want to put in here, if anything's applicable here. If you want to change it, great. If you don't, you don't have to. Optional entries, fields are automatically calculated. They can get overridden. Altitude auto, I can tell you that this has a preferred route and has a assigned altitude of 8,000 feet. Typically, for this route of flight. So we're just going to set 8,000. If you wanted it automatic, you could have left it auto, but air traffic control would have reassigned it back down to 8,000. Departure and arrival runways, if you know them, great. If you don't, leave them default. They're not really going to affect you, especially for this route because there is no SID or star that is currently assigned within this route. So super useful there. So you can see this is your route right here. Dixie, Victor 16, Cedar Lake, Victor 184 to Woodstown. It'll tell you that your route's valid, and you can look down, and magical, here is your route right below. So very self-explanatory, guys. This is the route to Philadelphia that you're filing. All right. What you're going to click now is once you have all that data, specifically the route actually populates and your altitude populates. That is the main information. Now, before we click generate flight plan, your OFP here, what you're going to do is just check this route. Make sure that it makes sense to you, and it should. Now, hypothetically speaking, let's say that this didn't come out. So if we did something like, let's do a minor airport, like, I don't know. We'll do KMJX to Philadelphia. You'll notice that there doesn't seem to be any route here at all. It just says enter your route here. So nothing really gave you any sort of real route. So you would either need to look if there's any preferred routes or previously filed routes. And the way that you can do that is by, strictly Googling, the FAA preferred route database in the United States, which can be easily accessed just by going to, up here, and you can type in the preferred route database. If you go to google.com, even though Google search engine was there, I hate when people do that, and of course I did that. You can do FAA preferred routes, and it'll bring you the first link. It's this wonderful little system that's going to tell you exactly what you need. So let's say we were going Kennedy to Atlanta. Obviously, you don't need to put the K if you're in the US, no K prefix. And this is how you essentially use this. And just click Submit Search Terms. You'll see there are preferred routes from Kennedy to Atlanta, Kennedy to Robbinsville, to J230, to J48, to Oscar Delta Foxtrot VOR, to the Winds 4 arrival. And then you'll see another route, and the restriction is it must be an RNAV aircraft only to fly this route. So that's essentially how you use the FAA preferred route database. Super powerful, especially if you don't know a route. You can also check one more thing. We can do, let's just try MJX to PHL. Just because it's an uncontrolled field, you'll see no data given because there's never been a route. So one more thing you can check is flight aware. And you can go here. And when you get to FlightAware, you can see a bunch of different things. You guys can, do this as a basic user. You don't need to be an enterprise user like me. And you can actually do Flight Finder. And you can do origin. We can do, let's say, KMJX to KPHL, just for giggles, to see if anything pops up. No flights, different origin, whatnot. So in this case, there is no real route from Ocean County, New Jersey to Philadelphia International Airport. So if we went back to SimBrief here, we would have to figure out a route on our own. And this is where, it really takes some serious flight planning and serious skill to really figure out where you're going to go and what altitude you're going to plan. Obviously, you're not going to fly an A319 from a class Gulf airport with a 5,000, 6,000 foot runway. It just makes no sense and wouldn't happen in real world. Essentially, what you would have to do is you would have to go to a site called SkyVector, and really what you could do is go to Flight Plan, and you can put in KMJX, and then we're going to go KPHL. And we're going to just clear those out because that was a previous flight I did. And you guys will see this is the VFR chart. You can click routes here, and you'll see this is one route. It says Corey Victor 123 to Ruth, which is apparently a route that it's suggesting. If you take a look at the Enroute low chart, you would depart out of Ocean County. You would go to Corey, and then from Corey you would join the Victor 123 to Ruth, and then inbound. Now, you don't have to do it that way, obviously. You could, maybe plan you wanted to go the Coil VOR, CYN, and then, let's say you joined Victor 312 to Woodstown, right? Victor 312 to Woodstown. And you'll see that, okay, that's a perfectly valid route. And this is honestly a route that I probably would file real world if I was flying out of Ocean County trying to get to Philly under instrument flight rules. Perfectly valid. And obviously, if air traffic control wants to deny it, they can deny it. And then, file the proper altitude for direction of flight. Let's say we were going to cruise at 4,000 feet or 6,000 feet because we're westbound. Essentially, that's how you do that. I sort of went on a tangent there, guys, but a lot of people that I see on online networks do not know how to properly file an IFR flight plan. You guys should not be coming to this tool as your first option to start plotting points, because I could have easily plotted a bunch of points and said, okay, I'm gonna fly from Kennedy to Canarsie, and then I'm going to take Victor 16, and, I want to go to Dixie, and then I want to go to Robbinsville, and then I want to go a straight shot to Woodstown. I would just be zigzagging, and it would really make no sense. But try to make your lives easy when you're doing this. Don't do so much work. These tools are here for you where they'll actually do the work for you. So as we knew, our original flight, which we are conducting today, is Kennedy to Philly, Dixie, Victor 16, Cedar Lake, Victor 184 to Woodstown. And if you click Sky Vector, it'll even plot it for you. It'll even plot it all out for you and make it easy. You can look at the Enroute high. You can look at the low as well. And it's super helpful to really get your bearings onto, what you're going to be flying. So again, too long, didn't listen. That's perfectly fine. This is the route that it generated. That's what we want. And we're going to file 8,000 feet because that's preferred. Generate OFP, yes. It's going to generate your briefing package at this point, and it's going to give you all the weights and balances of your aircraft along with your filed route, all that fun stuff, cost index, a bunch of that stuff. So check your OFP summary. American 1014 is an A319 going by the call sign American 1014. Originating at Kennedy, going to Philly, alternate of Kennedy, which, essentially, maybe you would file Newark, or maybe you would file, I don't know, Washington National, or, LaGuardia. Again, alternate is, per your standards of what you would want as an alternate, provided you could not get back into Philly, right? So let's say, you couldn't get back into Philly and whatnot. Would you have enough fuel to go back to Kennedy to get there? Most likely so, because it's, a very, very short flight. Cruise, 8,000 feet. Date is 16th of October, departing at 0535 universal coordinated time. Air time, 39 minutes. Block time, gate to gate, 107. Block fuel, extra fuel, zero fuel weight, and all the other weights and balances that you need, just in a beautiful couple of little boxes. This is your route. Dixie, Victor 16, Cedar Lake, Victor 184, Woodstown. Remarks, if you had any dispatcher remarks. Iraq cycle, LIDO, pounds, navlog, ETOPS, NOTAMs, fuel factor. Then you scroll down, you can see all the information about your route. We're not going to go into understanding the weights and balances and how to read this, because that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is two things: 8,000 feet, which is right there, and our filed route, which you can scroll down. You can actually see Kennedy, top of climb, Dixie, white, via Victor 16, white, coil, Victor 16, Lebvy. Then you're entering the ZDC FIR, Victor 16, Cedar Lake, Victor 184, Woodstown, then direct to Philadelphia, top of descent. Giving you your wind information and all that jazz. I'm not going to waste time going through this. It's a completely separate video. So now what you could do is you could just copy and paste this route into your pilot client, or you can save yourself some time and click pre-file flight, and you can pick what network you want to pre-file on. You want to go to POSCON? Perfect. You would click pre-file. It would go to POSCON. Pilot Edge, IVAO, and VATSIM. In this case, I pre-filed on VATSIM for the flight. You would click pre-file and file, and it's pretty much that easy. So that's essentially what's going on there, guys. If you want to print it out, feel free to do that. But this is essentially the route that you guys need to know for today. I know it was very long-winded. This was a very long section. 13 minutes is extremely long, but it's really important that you guys understand this. So that's what we got going on. So now we will hop into the cockpit and we will work on getting our clearance from air traffic control. Okay, guys. Well, welcome aboard here. So we're here at Kennedy. So as you guys saw in the previous screen, you saw the flight plan that we put together, our IFR flight plan from Kennedy to Philadelphia, and we're going to put in all that information into the plane so that the FMC is ready. But the first thing you guys need to do is you need to call up clearance delivery. And the way that networks work is, for example, I'm on VATSIM right now, is that VATSIM has a top-down methodology. So what that essentially means is that if the delivery controller isn't online as clearance, then the ground controller does it. If ground's not online, tower does it. If tower's not online, departure does it. And if departure's offline, approach does it. If none of those people are online, but the center is online, then the center handles it. In my case, here in New York, no one at Kennedy is online, but New York Center is online. So we're going to call up New York Center on 125.32 and ask them for clearance as we filed it. Now, an important thing to note is to make sure that you have the ATIS on board. Sometimes it will not be online, and in this case, it is not online. So what you're going to do is you're going to tell them you have negative ATIS. So our first transmission is going to be to New York Center, just to get a radio check, make sure our microphone's working. There's nothing wrong with doing that, and we'll be able to confirm that. So what we'll do here is we'll start tilting down here, and we're going to tune 125.325. Turn off the marker as well. All right, so we're going to get that all set up, and let's give a radio check. New York Center, American 1014, radio check.
Loud and clear.
Okay, so you guys heard that it was loud and clear. At this point, we're going to call for IFR clearance to Philadelphia, and we're going to have a pad and paper ready to go to copy it down in case anything has changed from our filed altitude or a route, anything of that nature. So we have a pen and paper always ready before we call. Now what we're going to do is we're going to call them up and we're going to say New York Center, our call sign, which is American 1014, with negative ATIS because the ATIS is offline right now, requesting IFR clearance to Philadelphia International Airport. And that's all we do. So here we go. New York Center, hello, American 1014 with negative ATIS, looking for IFR clearance to Philadelphia International Airport.
American 1014, clear to Philadelphia Airport via the score 4 departure. Ranger transition. Radar vectors Dixie, then is filed. Climb via SID. Departures with me. Squawk 7171.
American 1014 is cleared to Philadelphia via the score 4 departure. Ranger transition. Radar vectors Dixie, then is filed. Climb via SID. Departure frequency 125.32. Squawk 7171. American 1014.
American 1014, read back correct. Runway 31 left at Kilo Echo, advise ready for taxi.
We'll expect runway 31 left at Kilo Echo. We'll call for taxi. Thank you, American 1014. All right, guys. So essentially, we got our clearance there. So there was a lot that went on, but you guys will see the overlay as it's being said, so that should help you. So feel free to go back. But as you guys should know, when you get a clearance, you're looking for craft, CRAFT. It stands for, let's turn that frequency off so I can actually focus here. So craft stands for clearance, route, altitude, frequency, transponder. So clearance is your clearance limit, which in this case was Philadelphia Airport. Our route is via the score 4 departure, Ranger transition, radar vectors Dixie, then is filed. Which our first fix that we filed was Dixie. They just gave us a departure procedure to obey. No problem. Climb via SID is our altitude limit on that one. So climb via SID is as published on the instrument departure. And you'll notice that the controller did not amend our final altitude of 8,000 feet. So it's assumed that our altitude stays the same at that point. Departure frequency, he said, is with me, or is on the frequency we're currently on, which is 125.32. And our squawk code is our transponder, is 7171. So at that point, guys, we have everything that we need for our clearance. The next time we talk to air traffic control, we're going to be requesting taxi. We weren't told to call for push because we're on an uncontrolled area of the airport because the ramp is not controlled by air traffic control. However, if we were pushing onto a taxiway, we would have to call for push, and we would be advised of same. So you'll notice he also gave us the departure runway to expect, which is 31 left at Kilo Echo, so we know where to go. So at this point, we can program our plane, and we will call air traffic control when we're ready for taxi. Okay, guys, before we fly, we need to brief our entire route. So we were cleared pretty much as filed, except we were given a departure procedure. So using Navigraph here, I'm going to go to flights and just quickly import from SimBrief to save myself a little bit of time. This is my original route. I'm going to click runway, and I'm going to click 31 left because that's what I've been assigned. And then my departure is the score 4 Ranger transition. And we'll see that that now puts in the departure procedure. Now, we don't see the entire chart here. We just see, the lateral course that we're going to be flying. So that's obviously not helpful to us. But what we'll do is we can open up low Enroute and world map, and we can see everything in the New York, New Jersey area. But what we need to see is the most important thing, which is the chart. So we're going to click score 4, and we're going to click Show Chart Overlay. So we'll see here now that the score for departure is here. These are Jeppesen charts as well, as you guys can see from the disclaimer above, along with right here. So when we look at the score for, we can see, the course now, and we can see the crossing restrictions. So we got to cross Mets at or above 2,500 feet. On our way to Ranger, which is over here, but again, not to scale, as it's indicated right there. And then off of Ranger, we'll get assigned Dixie if we're not given it before Ranger. The important things to note is down here. We're departing 31 left. We'll need to climb heading 314 to intercept course 238 to score. Routing, maintain 5,000 feet, expect clearance to filed altitude flight level 10 minutes after. And then you'll see if you're going to a North American route, you'll see everything here, Betty, Grecky, Happy, and Merritt, if you were going to any North American routes. But in this case, we're not going a North American route, we're just going to Philadelphia. So the only thing we need to know is 314 heading to intercept 238 to score, and then maintain 5,000 feet. So now we have our standard instrument departure briefed, and we should be ready to go. We're going to open up the charts list, and we're going to go to taxi, airport information. We can see that we're hanging out here at Terminal 8, and we're going to be going to 31 left here at Kilo Echo. So we're going to expect to be given either Alpha or Bravo to get there. Now, as I know how New York works, I can tell you that we're going to be assigned taxiway Bravo to get there, because Bravo goes counterclockwise and Alpha goes clockwise. So most likely they'll give us Bravo to Kilo Echo. Or if he wants to give us long taxi, he'll give us Alpha all the way around to Kilo Echo. But most likely it'll be a left on to Bravo. So at this point, we just need to push and start, and we'll call for taxi. Okay guys, our pushback is now complete. The pushback driver is going back to his happy little home over at the terminal. And at this point guys, we are still at an uncontrolled portion of the airport. So if I quickly just switch scenes, you guys can see that we are still essentially pushed back, but we are not on a taxiway, we're in an uncontrolled area. So we'll pull up just short of Sierra here, and we'll call for taxi. So we'll hop in here, get our feet on our rudder pedals here. And we are on our way to taxi out here, guys. So we're going to pull up just short of Sierra here. And as we pull up short of Sierra, we'll call up the controller and say that we're ready for taxi to the runway we were previously assigned by the previous controller if it was delivery. But in this case, New York Center is controlling everything. So we're just going to slow down right here, hold the brakes, and then call them up. New York Center, American 1014, over at Terminal 8, short of Sierra, ready for taxi to runway 31 left at Kilo Echo.
American 1014, runway 31 left at Kilo Echo, taxi via Bravo and Kilo Echo.
Alright, we'll turn left on Bravo, Kilo Echo, hold short of runway 31 left, American 1014. Alright guys, so very simple. We were given Bravo to Kilo Echo. So, pretty self-explanatory there, guys. We're just going to get onto Bravo here, and that'll just cut here onto Sierra to do that. Cut onto Sierra, we'll cross over here on Alpha. So, Alpha is what we're crossing, intersecting right now, and we can see by the taxiway signage, our next left will bring us onto Bravo here.
One more time for us.
Contact Potomac approach, 119er.
Okay guys, so at this point we're taxiing out, we're following Bravo, all the way down to Kilo Echo. So always be looking at taxiway signs. Make sure you're still on the correct taxiway, which we are. Crossing over one of the bridges here at Kennedy that goes over the highway. And yeah, we should. The taxi should be complete in a few moments. Here, we'll hop back over to Navigraph, and you guys can see the moving map here. We are on taxiway Bravo here, and we're going to be monitoring New York Center the entire time. Make sure everything here is kosher as we taxi on our way to Kilo Echo. So we are going here, guys. We're going to intersection departure at Kilo Echo. All right. So that's the plan. Very typically in Kennedy, you'll get Kilo Echo unless you're a heavy aircraft requiring all the runway. But most commonly, you will get Kilo Echo. So at this point, guys, I'll be back with you once the taxi is complete. Okay, guys, welcome back. We're just coming up short of Lima here, and the next one up after Lima is going to be Kilo Echo. Yeah, so I'll quickly alert the controller. We're just going to need a few minutes to prepare for departure before he gives us the clearance. Some controllers will actually give it as you're rolling up, and they'll just give you a clear for takeoff. But if you need a few minutes, don't be afraid to tell the controller you need a few minutes. So that's what we're going to do. New York Center, American 1014. We're coming up short of Kilo Echo here. Just going to need a few minutes to get everything ready for departure.
1014, Roger.
So they'll just say Roger. They'll recognize that that's what you need, and they won't give you takeoff clearance, and they're going to wait on you to say that you're ready to go. So now the power is in your hands to tell the controller that you're ready to go. Now, if you're flying during an event or busy traffic, if you're going to do this, that's fine. Just try not to take up more than a couple of minutes, 2-3 minutes at most, to get everything ready for departure. And, I already have pretty much everything configured, my lights and everything. But we're just going to go through it one more time to make sure. And here's Kilo Echo right here, guys. So we're going to come up to the hold short line, which is right here. And just hold short. We don't want to cross that line just yet. All right. So here we are. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go through everything, make sure my takeoff configuration checklist is complete. Spoilers armed, and then indicate. Alright, everything's ready to go. And our initial altitude, we do need to check, per the SID, is 5,000 feet, guys. So make sure that's set as your initial altitude. Whatever altitude you were initially assigned. But, guys, we are good to go at this point, and I'll tell the controller. New York Center, American 1014 is ready for departure.
American 1014, wind 3506, runway 31 left at Kilo Echo, clear for takeoff.
Runway 31 left at Kilo Echo, clear for takeoff, American 1014. Alright guys, so we got our takeoff clearance. There's never a need to read back the winds to the controller. The controller is advising you of the winds so that you can adjust your aircraft during departure for any crosswinds.
1 left.
In this case, the wind isn't too bad for us. But never read back the winds, guys. It's not necessary. The only thing you want to read back is altimeter settings and main instructions that you're given. So vectors, departures, clearances, things like that. So we're going to line up here, guys, and we're going to depart. And my apologies also. I'm not a real Airbus pilot. You guys should know that by now. But we're just going to hold the brakes here and get everything ready for departure. Again, this lesson is not how to fly an Airbus. It's more how to fly IFR. So we are good to go. Let's roll. And the airspeed is alive. We're at 100 knots. And we're at V1. Rotate. Positive rate. You're coming up. Flaps up. Auto climb. Autopilot's engaged. Now what will happen at this point is we're going to get a call from the controller advising that we are radar contact. And they're going to ask us our altitude leaving, which means what altitude are you currently passing through. So you'll see that. Or if you're switched over to departure, you'll advise them. So in this case, we're going to advise them. New York Center, American 1014 on the score 4 departure out of 2000 via SID.
American 1014, New York Center, radar contact. Climb maintain 8,000.
8,000 now, American 1014. Alright guys, so you guys saw all that changed for me is 8,000 feet. And I'll give you guys a nice little departure view here.
American 1014, proceed direct Dixie.
Say again for American 1014.
American 1014, proceed direct Dixie.
Direct to Dixie now, American 1014. Alright guys, so now we were given our next instruction, which is to proceed direct the fix on our flight plan, which is Dixie in this case. So I'm just going to say direct, and I'm going to click Dixie. And I'm going to say direct to insert. And now you're going to notice that I'm going to fly direct to Dixie. And we're going up to 8,000 feet, guys. It is a beautiful day to fly. Don't expect any significant weather in our flight. And honestly, guys, that's how you handle the departure. You would probably get frequency changes back and forth to different controllers if multiple people were online. But luckily for us, there's only one controller online. So at this point, you guys can see we're climbing out of 7,000 feet for 8,000. And, we're just en route at this point. And now, just clean up your plane as needed. And that's it. Enjoy the flight. The next thing that you really should expect is, your next descent procedure, or if you're descending via an arrival, what to expect on that arrival. In this case, we're not on an arrival. Our last fix is actually OOD, which is Woodstown. So we're going to get vectors off of Woodstown to Philadelphia. So guys, as you can see, I'm going to turn down the output here so you don't hear the air traffic control as much over me. You should always be listening to air traffic control at the same time as you multitask. But as you can see, guys, we're now direct to Dixie. This was our flight plan, Ranger Dixie, but we got direct Dixie before the Ranger transition here actually occurred. So after Dixie, we're going to go to White, and then we're going to go to Coil VOR, to Victor 16, to Lebvy, to Jim's, which isn't actually Jim's, Cedar Lake VOR, not Jim's, VCN, Cedar Lake VOR, to Victor 184, to get to the Woodstown VOR, which is right here. And then at that point, we should get our vectors as needed. But we'll probably get our vectors closer to Cedar Lake, especially if they're not landing the 9 runways. So at this point, we just wait for our next instruction, and that's pretty much it. Another thing that I forgot to mention to you guys that you guys should also keep in mind is if a controller is speaking too quickly to you, don't be afraid to say, can you slow down a little bit and repeat your last transmission, which is perfectly fine. Because controllers understand sometimes they get busy and they start talking really fast. Just ask them to slow down so that you can write everything down that you need to know. But at this point, guys, we're just waiting for our descent here into Philadelphia or the handoff to Philly approach. We'll see what happens.
Icon 92, question. Do you want to join the river southbound from the Tappan Sea or just west of McCoy there? Just depart through 1 on the runway heading and then turn on the river. The Casino North, we want to take off.
So guys, at this point, we don't know what approach we're going to get or anything just yet, because that's going to be issued by Philadelphia Approach.
American 1014, contact Philly Approach 128.4. See you later.
Over to Philly Approach, thanks for the service, 128.4, American 1014.
Bye, Joe.
Bye. Alright, so 128.4 is our new frequency, so we're going to tune that in here, 128.4.
Alright, let me know when you're back.
And we'll get the expected runway with Philly. So we're going to check in with Philly, and we're going to say Philly Approach, American 1014, level 8,000. And that's all we're going to say. We're not going to need our position or anything. They got a direct radar handoff. They know where we are. We're just verifying our altitude. Philly Approach, hello, American 1014, level 8,000.
American 1014, Philadelphia Approach, good evening. Expect ILS from my 27 right approach, Philadelphia altimeter 3017.
All right, we'll expect the ILS 27 right approach, 3017 on the altimeter setting, American 1014. All right, so we know it's going to be ILS 27 right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to Philly, and we're just going to plug that quickly into the plane, so the plane knows what to expect here. ILS 27 right. Temp the flight. And insert. Okay, so now we have the approach loaded in here, as we need to. Martin, Jalto, and whatnot. Now what we have to do on our side of the operation is actually brief the approach. So we'll probably get vectors, as you can see, going all the way to Woodstown and then turning all the way around. We'll probably get vectors before then, which is good to know. But what we need to do as pilots in command here is to figure out what the approach looks like. So we're going to just click the approach here. And we're going to look for the ILS 27 right approach. And transition is final. It's a vector to final approach. So we now have that, and we can click it and click Show Chart Overlay. Or if you wanted to see just the chart itself, you could just open the chart. But in this case, we can see it's ILS or localizer approach, runway 27 right. We can see all of the information we need, the ILS decision altitude, the airport elevation. But what we need to really look at is
711, Philadelphia Approach, good evening.
this.
Expect ILS from my 27
So you can
right
see
approach,
this dash line
Philadelphia
in the way.
altimeter
So if we want to
3017.
just get rid of that, we can just quickly click windowed. And then we can really just look at this. We can see Jalto, Martin, Hadney, and we see the ILS DME here. And we can see that the frequency of the ILS approach is 108.95, and the course is 268.
American 1014, turn right heading 300, descend and maintain 6,000 vectors for the approach.
Sorry about that. Say one more time for American 1014.
American 1014, turn right heading 300, descend and maintain 6,000 vectors for the approach.
Right turn 300 down to 6,000, American 1014. Alright guys, so at this point we've been vectored off our arrival, and what we have to do is comply with air traffic control instructions, and we need to turn right heading 300 and descend and maintain 6,000. So that's what we're going to do. Going to start a descent down and start the turn as we were assigned. So, as we were saying before, we're looking at the approach chart. And the approach chart is very important to know what we're going to expect. So, looking here, ILS frequency that we need to tune in here, the 108.95, that's your ILS localizer frequency, 108.95. That's your identifier of the localizer, and you can see the Morse code as well if you want to listen. This is your course, 268, and then you have a decision altitude of straight in landing, runway 27 right. ILS, decision height, or decision altitude is 211, 211 feet. So that is essentially the main information you need to know as well when you're just quickly looking at this chart. We'll have a different video on how to read these charts and read charts a lot better. But for the approach that we're going to be executing today into Philly, All we need to know is our straight-in landing, decision, height, or altitude. DA is 211. We know the frequency and the course. So course, frequency, identifier to confirm, and the minimums or decision
turn right
altitude.
heading 360, descend and maintain 4,000. Once at 4,000, reduce speed 180 knots.
Sorry, American 1014, we're doing a recording and just explaining how to read the approach chart. Give us that instruction one more time.
American 1014, that is fine. Turn right heading 360, descend and maintain 4,000. Once at 4,000, reduce speed 180 knots.
Alright, turn right heading 360, descend and maintain 4,000. Upon reaching 4,000, reduce speed to 180 knots. American 1014. Alright, so we got a lot of instructions there, guys. And again, if you're fed with a fire hose in any way, shape, or form, all you got to say is, could you slow down or repeat that, so that you can copy it down. Because being able to hear all those instructions at once takes practice.
Sorry about that, but actually make that a right heading 020.
Alright, we'll keep the right turn coming 020 now, American 1014. Now, a very important thing to note, guys, is to pick up the ATIS. They'll actually ask you for the ATIS information if you don't have it on board. It's always good to check in with the approach controller indicating you have the ATIS as well. In this case, the ATIS is on 133.4. You can either tune that into your cockpit, but sometimes it doesn't actually verbally come back, so you can't hear it, or within your pilot client, depending upon the network you're using. In this case of ATSIM, I can just go into it and request the ATIS information, which in this case is information Foxtrot. Foxtrot, and the wind is 220 at 5. So, I have the information, I'll just advise the controller of that. American 1014 has Foxtrot.
American 1014, thank you for Foxtrot.
Now, we're going to slow to 180. As instructed, because we leveled at 4,000 down to 180. So, slowing the plane down as instructed.
American 1014, 5 miles from Martin, turn left heading 300, maintain 3,000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 27 right approach.
Turn left heading 300, maintain 3,000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS 27 right approach, American 1014. Alright guys, so we got the vector to the localizer at this point, and we're cleared for the approach. We were told to maintain 3,000 until established, so we'll continue our descent down, 180 knots, 300 on the heading, and at this point we can activate the full approach here. You can see the localizer's captured already, which makes life very easy for us, as it'll start to bring us in here to Philadelphia on the ILS 27 right approach.
711, turn right heading 330.
So we're going to maintain the speed that we were told, 180. But once you're cleared for an approach, guys, your speed restriction is canceled unless otherwise told. So we're just going to maintain 180 because I'm fine with that, and I'm going to go gear down.
American 1014, wind 220 at 5, runway 27 right, clear to land.
Runway 27 right, we're cleared to land, American 1014.
2,500.
Okay, guys. So at this point, we are cleared to land, runway 27 right. At this point, guys, I really don't need to tell you this, but you need to put the plane on the ground safely. There's nothing more air traffic control can really do for you unless there are any traffic advisories for them to make you aware of. Alright, guys, we're approaching at this point. If it was bad weather, you may want to just let the plane fly down to minimums, but the weather's not that bad right now, so we'll just
500.
we'll just fly it in. We'll keep the auto throttle on.
400.
Cessna 2692 Kilo, you're cleared in Philadelphia Class Bravo airspace. Maintain pattern altitude.
300.
Squawk 3023.
Two hundred.
Philadelphia Class Bravo airspace. And squawk 3023, we're ready to taxi.
100.
Number 2692 Kilo, runway 35 at Kilo, taxi via Alpha Delta, cross runway
20.
26 at Delta.
Retard.
Alpha Delta,
10.
26 at Delta, runway 5 at Kilo 96.
American 1014, welcome to Philadelphia, exit right when able.
Right when able, American 1014. All right, guys, welcome to Philly. Again, not the greatest landing, as you guys could see. Again, not the greatest pilot, but I can sure as heck teach you guys what to do. So, we were told to exit right when able, so we'll exit here. And once we're clear, we're going to stop once we're clear the hold short bars here. So we'll just pull up here.
American 1014, safe parking.
Terminal A, American 1014.
American 1014, taxi to the ramp via Kilo Tango. Have a nice one.
Kilo Tango, thanks for the help, American 1014. Very good. So we were told Kilo Tango. So what we need to do here, guys, is we'll go back. We can see the ILS plate still open that we were referencing. Just click Philly, charts,
Philadelphia,
taxi,
altimeter 3017.
airport. And we were told Kilo Tango. So we'll taxi via Kilo to Tango to Terminal A. And that'll be that, guys. So we'll get back in the cockpit here, and we'll park her.
Number
Let's get
2692
moving.
Kilo, wind 220 at 5, runway 35 at Kilo, clear for takeoff.
So at this point, guys, we were told, taxi to parking via Kilo Tango, and now we are on the ramp, which is considered to be an uncontrolled area. It's no longer controlled by air traffic control. Pick your gate wherever you're parking, park your plane, shut her down, and you've just completed a successful IFR flight. I hope that this has been useful to you guys in regards to, how to fly IFR, especially on online networks like VATSIM. Every network's different. VATSIM versus POSCON versus IVEO. They all have different standards when it comes to common traffic advisory frequencies and the way to tune to even towered frequencies or controlled frequencies. But the main thing that you need to know is that your IFR procedures are still the same regardless, and your phraseology is still the same regardless. So, guys, I hope this video was useful for you, and I'll see you all on the next one.